Fireworks, a part of our nation's fabric. Beautiful to see, fun to watch, sometimes can certainly be scary. Now, every year, pediatricians are asked, how can we have our kids safely do fireworks at home? So let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. So, I've loved watching fireworks since before I can remember. I'm sure I probably was scared when I was a little kid. I don't remember that. But really, it's been just one of those things I've always looked forward to. The New Year's Eve celebrations, the 4th of July, of course, but in Florida also, as a family growing up, as many did, going to Disney World often, we were seeing fireworks throughout the year as well. So we were pretty used to it. And it was always one of the things, especially at Disney or even on the holidays, the end of the day, it wraps things up. It kind of puts that exclamation point on a wonderful day. And so obviously something that we all participate in. Now, in our family, we actually didn't participate in setting off fireworks at home. It was just not really part of what our family and our friends group actually did. We went to go see fireworks, but we didn't really set them off, maybe an occasional sparkler or something like that. But that was about it. Now, over the past few decades, of course, fireworks have become very, very popular this time of year. And again, in December, we see all of these huge tents popping up. There are the same store buildings that are used for Halloween costumes. They then transition into fireworks stores, etc. So they're certainly around. And a lot of people, again, want to know, well, how is this safe for my kids to be around? How do we do this as safe as possible? Now, a few things just in terms of the real risks so you to be aware of, and this is why we need to take the precautions. So first of all, besides the fun, there is this danger. There are over 10,000 emergency room visits for pediatrics for children every year due to fireworks, okay? And children under 15 years, 29% of that. So I'm sorry, it's 10,000 for all people. But 29% is almost a third. The issues are from children, young adolescents and under. Now, also 31% of injuries are due to hands and fingers from lighting and that type of thing. Another 21 can be to head, face, and ears, from explosions or loud sounds. But even to eyes, 14% of all injuries are because no protection being worn, and there could be an eye injury from this as well. So, of course, this is really serious stuff. Now, a story for our own self. So there was this one year, I'm guessing I was about 15, 16 years old. So we were a little older, and there was a group of kids and one of the families that we were friends with down the street, and they had this empty lot across the street. So they came up with the idea, hey, let's set off fireworks over there. It's an empty spot. It's not where anybody's house is. Maybe we'll be fine. And I remember it was the Schwartz family. And I remember as they were doing it, I wasn't completely comfortable, so I was kind of standing back watching. And one of the kids, the middle Schwartz child, I'm guessing he was about 13 years old at the time, he sets up a bottle rocket in a bottle and has it facing not upright, but forward, and lights it. And as it's going, I see his younger brother, who I'm guessing was 8 or 9, kind of running out of my periphery. And I don't know if you could have timed it up any better, but this bottle rocket goes off, nails his brother, right on the side. And thankfully he was okay. Got a little mark there, but it was just happening in slow motion because it was such a dramatic thing to happen. So I have firsthand seen this type of thing happen, but they're older people now, my age, of course. So I'm sure they're doing fine. But nonetheless, that was a pretty traumatic thing to watch. Now, a couple of things. We'll talk more about the home in a second, but I do also want to talk about attending public fireworks because there could be some really danger issues there as well, and in particular, ear damage. Okay, now firecrackers at home as well as professional fireworks, they can reach sounds decibel-wise of 170. Blasts that are louder than 120 can cause acute ear damage. And this is 50 decibels higher, okay? Now, there are noise-reducing earbuds and such, and, you'll see ones that they kind of make for concerts. They just filter out sound. But the foam ones that go into ears, they will really get into the depths of the ear canal. Those are going to provide the most amount of protection in terms of lowering the decibels and protecting the ears. Now, the one exception for that would be with very young children, toddlers, infants. We don't put foam ears into them because it's not too difficult for them to find it and then lives in their ear, and that could certainly be a choking hazard if it ends up in their mouth. And so the over the head, like more like muffs kind of thing, that are sound canceling would be what we would use in the younger children. Now, fireworks at home. Okay. Now, first of all, it's always a good idea. In fact, really imperative. Make sure that you're getting it from a legitimate source, from a company that's sourced. Don't be, homemade fireworks, illegal fireworks. You're just asking for trouble when using those types of things. Now, never allow young children to set off fireworks. Okay. I mean, it's just, you're asking for trouble there. Realistically, older children, of course, need to be very closely supervised by an adult. But don't let young children light in themselves, even if it's on a candle or something where not a sparking up. Again, it's not necessary. Now, in terms of also from the sound perspective, so ground fireworks. So if you're talking about the fountains that spray up that makes more of a popping kind of crackling sound, you want to have kids, as well as us, standing at least 35 feet away. That way, in terms of the sound, if something goes off, it's far enough away that it will cause a problem. Now, in terms of aerial fireworks, so of course, bottle rockets, other things that go up in the air, all of those types of things, you really want to be about 150 feet back. So as soon as that's lit, you need to kind of tail off a little bit like that in order to get far enough away to cause the problems. Now, never hold a lit firework in your hands. I've seen people do this with bottle rockets, especially. Terrible. You're asking for trouble. Never point, make sure kids are taught, never point a firework at somebody. Okay. It can happen accidentally, let alone this isn't like, we're playing laser tag or something like that. This can cause serious damage. And sometimes kids are just, they're not thinking, right? If they're out there by themselves, if they're not supervised, they're used to playing, run around and pretend guns and stuff like this. It can get out of control. It can get, especially when there's a bunch of kids. So you got to make sure that that's not happening. Okay. Now, again, it's really recommended only have one device lit at a time. Don't have a bunch of kids lighting them off simultaneously, or a bunch of adults for that matter. Don't have one person light multiple at a time. Timing wise, etc., they're more of an issue. Just one at a time, and also it makes it go longer in terms of the party, right? If you're doing one at a time as opposed to a whole bunch at once. Now, never light it in a container. Okay, so better like bottle rockets. It's better to to have the stick being implanted into the ground, because of course with glass it could shatter, it could fall over, etc. That can cause more of a hazard. Okay, do not try to relight a firework. If it's a dud, it's a dud. Obviously, if you start to light the wick and then it duds out, and you try again, it's short. It may go off right in front of you. So again, if it's a dud, bless it, make it a dud, move on. Now, for either duds or spent fireworks, don't just throw them in the garbage, because there could be some internal heat. It's really best to submerge them in water first for a little while. Make sure it's cooled off. Damp, cannot ignite before disposing them properly. Now, you do want to keep a bucket of water around, just in case there is a need to douse somebody, etc. Or if something catches on fire, you want to be ready. Maybe even having a fire extinguisher there as well. And again, don't use illegal fireworks. You're just asking. Now, one of the questions that we do get asked, and as I alluded to before, for young children, are sparklers. Because most people think that sparklers are pretty benign, but the core, the heat part of the sparkler, not the part that comes off a little bit, but it can get up to 2,000 degrees. Okay, that's enough to melt some metal, so that's really serious. And it can, if it touches clothes, it can ignite clothing very quickly. And there are children every year who do get severe burns from even from the sparklers. They drop it, it lands on their feet or something like that. That could be a problem. Now, children under 5 years of age, and again, they're the ones who are more likely to be with sparklers because it's assumed that they're safe. But nearly half of the total injuries in children, and for fireworks, actually happens just from sparklers. Okay. Now, anyone that's using it, of fireworks of any time, also, no matter what kind it is, wear protective glasses, goggles, work shields. That you would use on a bench, in your workspace, etc., like that. Again, protect the eyes. That's obviously something that can go really bad, really fast. Okay. So overall, can fireworks be done safely? Again, after all of what I just listed there, you say no. But again, following all of those basic ideas can make it significantly safer. Okay, but of course, take caution. It's no fun to spend a holiday in the emergency room. Have a nice day.